We're back with a very special edition for you. The lovely Michelle Stevenson and the one and only Mickey Stevenson are joining us. Mickey, of course, the original A&R man for the Heralded MOTOWN label. You guys got a new song, and we talked about MOTOWN, not only having the hits and having the talent, but you had this movement, and we heard it with Marvin Gaye with what's going on, and then next thing you know, Stevie Wonder's coming out with Superstition and Living for the City and all these incredible songs, and it became evident, that music was more than just a melody and some people playing instruments. It had a voice, and so many people looked up to the artists because they know they had a lot of passion in their soul, and they had something to say. And of course, a lot of that was in the 60s leading into the 70s. Like I say, we had the Vietnam War, which my father went over and fought for us, and so many young men were trying to figure out, well, am I going to be drafted? I'm going to go from playing ball in the street to holding a bayonet and a gun against some enemy I don't even know. I don't. Why are we fighting them?
Yeah.
So it was a definite transition time. And I know in your hearts, music has the ability to communicate, feelings. And of course, that brings us to the great Kamala Harris, who I interviewed somebody recently that went to fifth grade with her up in the
Oh,
Oakland, Bay Area. And, it was known early on that she was somebody special. And of
Mm.
course, she did, became the district attorney and the attorney general, and, not only representing the great state of California, but became that senator and then the vice president.
wow.
Joe Biden could have chosen anyone.
Anyone.
Well, the first female. And, now we're poised to see her as the first female president. And the fact that she is both black and Asian is incredible. It's something that potentially could really bring us together.
Mm.
Yes,
And
yes.
tell us. I know you when I spoke before. You had fought for the great Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, who's doing great work out there. To talk about how you've brought your message to help politics and the germination of this incredible song, put Kamala into the White House.
Well, I gotta tell you, I could tell you, but Michelle can tell you better than me because she was on the case. She
Yes.
was on the case and brought it around for my attention to deal with it. Tell them, baby.
I'll talk a little bit about the background of the song. Mickey did a play maybe like 15 years ago, Sing It from the Heart. And it was about eight legendary women, Josephine Baker, Eartha Kitt, Dorothy Dandridge,
Lena Horne,
Lena Horne,
Mahalia Jackson.
Mahalia Jackson.
Okay. Oh, I can.
Okay, so eight legendary women, and it was about how these eight women soared in a time that there was a lot going on in the world, Black America, and they didn't sell out. And in that play, there was a song that he wrote called "Put a Woman in the White House." So they talked about that one day there was bound to be a woman in the White House. So it was almost like Mickey prophesied that one day there'll be a woman in the White House. And then a couple of years ago, we did the song for a Congresswoman, Jan Perry. She reminded me of a female Martin Luther King, and I told Mickey I want to do a virtual concert for her, and we got together and did it then. Well, when Mickey found out that Joe Biden passed the torch to Kamala Harris, we pulled out the red carpet. And before that, Mickey was watching the news every day, all day. Is he going to, pass the torch to Kamala? And when he did, we went back into the studios. And what I mean by the red carpet, we got background singers. He readjusted the song. Um, we Martin Luther King is in the song. It was just amazing. And then I told him one day we was having dinner, and I said, I think you should put your signature on it. He's like, what do you mean? I said, dance in the street. Dun, 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 dun. And then we had to redo the song so he could adjust that. And then we did the song over a couple of times because we wanted to pronounce her name right. We was calling her Kamala and all these different things. So that's how the song came about.
And she sung it, which was
Yeah.
really great. What about that part?
Okay. He could have chose anybody to sing the song. He chose me, so it was an honor for me to sing the song. Um, I felt like I was standing alongside of Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, people that stood for equality and justice. And it was just an honor to be part of this project. And it's an honor to, be among the living to see an African American go to the White House. And I strongly believe that we will be dancing in the streets.
Oh, what a relief would
Right.
that be, you know? Yeah, it's so sad to see our country divided, over the
Yeah.
last 8 years.
Hmm.
And I sometimes wonder how did this happen? But bullying and hate and
Yep.
everything
Hmm.
is not only dividing us, but a lot of people mistake this bullying for strength. And I
Mm,
loved how
mm.
Barack Obama said last week, no, that's not strength. Strength is carrying a heavy load and not complaining.
Mm.
Oh,
You know,
wow. Ooh, wow.
being a true leader and not afraid to take the blame if you drop the ball at some point. We all do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect.
Hmm.
Why would anyone claim that they're perfect? So
Mm.
it's really sad to see because I believe we're one nation, one people, one planet.
Right.
You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
so to see any division within our own country, more or less, out there around the world, because I know so many of the people around the world, they look up to America.
Yes.
Yes.
They look up to our leaders, and I have friends in Canada and Europe that say, "What's going on with you guys?" They can't understand, and it's certainly never been a majority, but we have such things as the Electoral College and this questionable Supreme Court balance at this point.
Mm.
It things are kind of askew, and I think it would be great to have that joy, that bonding, that
Yes.
unity again. Like Kamala always says, we have more in common than we have differences.
Yeah, and I feel like she's a person where her example is no one left out, everybody included, and that is so important. Just like when you and Mickey talked about joy in the first segment, joy is responsible for a lot of things. It's responsible for people's health and well-being. I mean, there's just so many things. There's even a scripture in the Bible that says, "The joy of the Lord is my strength." So it's so important that we have joy and that we collaborate and that we come together and we respect people's differences. Even with the song, there were some people, we ran into some resistance. Like we asked people to post and share and, get the song out there. And some people were like, I might lose followers. They didn't really want to stand. And then there were some people that said they would interview us and then they said they wouldn't. But after they talked to us, they said they would because I said, you don't necessarily have to be for or against. We're not fanatical. This is just Mickey's contribution and my contribution singing the song, our expression. We respect if you feel like the other party is for you, but let's learn to, come together and respect each other's differences. So
Well,
I think,
I think that's important, mutual respect,
yeah. Hmm.
and I could never figure out how, if you're running for public office, how you can just lie and
Yeah.
that be legal, you're
Hmm.
representing to the American people
Yeah.
that this is what you're for and these are the facts,
Hmm.
but you're just spewing lies. And
Yeah.
what message does that give to our young kids that look up to the elders, that look up to our leaders,
Yeah.
and then find out no, everything they're saying is not true. They're not eating the dogs and cats,
Mm. Oh,
these people
Yeah.
are here legally. We're all immigrants.
yeah, right. We're all
Exactly.
exactly. We're all
America was Indians, before any of us got here.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
California was part of, you know, Mexico,
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
it was
They
really,
bought it from Mexico.
And thinking about, what you said, I asked myself and I questioned myself, if what if Trump was a black man and he had those convicted of those cases, lying, doing all that stuff, would he even qualify? Would he even still be running? The answer is flat out no.
No, he'd be
And what
hanging
is,
from a tree.
yeah, so what is this about? It's just really sad, like you said, someone lying and doing all these things and the messages that we're given,
yeah.
the younger
And
generation.
he cries that he's persecuted, but
Yeah,
these
Whew.
are laws that you've broken practically every day of your
exactly.
life, and there needs to be, somebody accounting, for that. If you or I broke those laws, we would already be in prison.
Yeah.
Big trouble.
Mhm.
Yeah, we don't have hundreds of millions of dollars to keep hiring these attorneys to
Exactly.
kicking the can down the road and
Hmm.
keep out of it. Mickey, what are your thoughts? I hear that more black men are on the other side,
Hmm.
and I scratch my head. It's like what because he's a convicted felon, because he's selling $400 shiny sneakers. What is your thought? How a strong black man could ever support, the lies and the cons and not be behind such an incredible movement. What is your thought?
Well, I feel that they don't really know, and they should do more research,
Yeah.
find out
They might just be following the loud voice, the bullying,
exactly.
they think that's he's going to take care of business if he's shouting the loudest.
Yes, yes. And the man thing, which has got nothing to do with the God thing. So but I think, and I see it coming, some of them are beginning to take a listen to some of the things that he's really saying about humans, beings, different races. They're beginning to get the picture that one is a sales pitch to win, and then you learn the truth and the lies are coming out. And so it's changing. It's could change faster, but some friends were right with him 100%. And now they're saying to me, man, is this guy really serious about having the army to go against people in America and all that? And I say, well, he's coming out of his mouth. So what do you think? So they're beginning to come to another place. Uh, and, they got a lot of reasons. Some of the blacks have a lot of reasons because certain things they couldn't buy, places they couldn't live. That's been going on for years, but it's been changing. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So now they got to look at it from a different point of view, and so it's going to be all right. They're getting the picture.
Yeah.
Matter
I,
of
I
fact,
think,
Trump is making it clear where he's coming from. Before you didn't want to buy it, you heard it.
yeah. Well, all the complaints about the old guy. Well, he's the old guy now. He's the oldest to ever run in a president election, and it seems cognitively he's way, way out there. I saw a commercial today that said, if he was one of our relatives, we'd be probably putting him in a home, at this point. He's just not making a lot of sense at these quote rallies. And I think initially people, out in the sticks were like, well, let's go see the guy from TV, they
Yeah.
think, the failed game show host or something with somebody they used to watch on NBC or something. But it really, bothers me that not only the division in our country, but, the lies. Say anything to get elected
Oh, that's
and then
trouble.
not deliver. Because
Yeah.
we remember 4 years ago how he botched the pandemic and how he was crowing about the economy. But as Barack told us recently, that was my economy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Your first 2 years of a presidency, you're inheriting your predecessor.
Yes.
It's not like you hit the ground day one, everything changes. No, you've walked right into a gift, so to speak, or a challenge.
Yes.
And Lord knows Joe Biden walked into a challenge, literally inheriting this pandemic. the worst in history,
in history.
and having to turn it around and, bring the, economy to the greatest in the world. So yeah,
Yeah.
prices go up. Your price has been going up every year. I don't care who's in president. But
Right.
if we bring Jimmy Carter back, gas is going to be 25 cents a gallon or what? I mean,
It ain't gonna happen.
no, it doesn't work like that. It's a free enterprise. These oil companies and food and product companies, they're not going to cut their prices just because somebody else is in office. It has to be the bigger picture.
Yes. Yes.
And everybody needs to, make a living wage, and we need to have less hungry people and less people on the streets, and figure out how to put them into the job force. And no, you can trace every one of us back to an immigrant from somewhere else.
Now that's so incredible right there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Every one of us.
every one of us.
Yeah.
And we're proud of our ancestry, and we love this country. And it's not a slogan or a hat. It's a real belief, that we've survived this long, and it's wrong to buddy up to these communist dictators who realistically want to wipe us out.
Mm.
Yes.
If
And
they
take over,
wiped us out, they'd have no conflicts. They just run the whole world.
run the whole world. You got it.
We're
That
we're
ain't gonna happen.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're the leaders of democracy,
Yes.
around the world. And
Very well put. That's very well
people are
put.
trying to figure out why are we funding Ukraine? Well, guess what? Russia's trying to take over Ukraine, and then Poland, and then Czechoslovakia, and
And
then
all of
Romania,
it.
and work their way up. So
Yes. That's the,
that's we learned later that's why we were in Vietnam,
yes.
because the communists were trying to take over, just like like in Korea, there's a North and a South Korea, just like there used to be two Germanys, East and a West Germany, with a wall between it, you
You
know.
got that right.
And in our lifetime, we saw that wall come down, and it's an amazing thing. I think all people should be treated with dignity and respect,
Yeah.
and let them, pray and observe whatever they believe in. It shouldn't threaten you.
Yes. Very good.
Michelle, talk about that. How important in your hopes, for the song.
I hope that the song compels people to vote. I hope that Vice President Kamala Harris really gets our heart, our contribution. We're not on the phones making calls, but it's our contribution to share our expression to make a difference. And like I said, my stand is that we are all dancing in the streets, and when she becomes the president. We need transformation. We need healing
Yeah.
to heal our world, to make a difference. And we got to come together even in our differences, and respect different cultures, different nationalities, different religions. It's important that we all come together as one.
Well, I had the blessing to grow up. My father was in the Air Force. I saw the Beatles and Ed Sullivan when I was 5, and I moved to England. My
Wow.
first, second, and third grade were in a British community outside of London, where I learned how to play soccer before I learned how to play football. I
Mm.
learned this different culture. My father used to get 30 days vacation every year. He'd save them all up and take my two sisters and mom and dad to Europe in a Volkswagen camper. And we just had 30 days with no set schedule. We found a beach in Spain we love. We'd stay there for 2 or 3 days. We went
Wow.
through Italy and Germany and worked our way all the way up through Scandinavia, and took a ferry back from, Norway to Scotland, drove back home. So, I learned early on, the different cultures, and learn that we're all alike, but we
Mhm,
also have cultural differences that we can appreciate.
mhm,
But my senior year in high school, I lived in Panama, Central America. Our house was literally on the opening of the Pacific side of the Panama Canal, and used to watch the biggest ships in the world come by our front window uh, every morning, and lunch and dinner, and it was amazing. But the country was run by a dictator, Noriega, who's
Wow.
in prison in Florida. And so when somebody says they want to be a dictator, people that are not educated think, oh, he's going to be a tough guy. He's going to be a strong guy. No, a dictator is all about them. Literally, the military, the army, and the government was all one. They had guys in uniforms out on the streets of Panama, and they had checkpoints. And I didn't speak Spanish. And literally in the middle of, it's not even a red light or anything, there's a checkpoint. And if you don't stop, they could throw you in a cold prison with no call to any attorney. Your family wouldn't know where you were. You could literally come up missing. They could plant something in your back pocket, and you're on, some kind of tribal, court. But it's a scary thought. We don't need a dictator. We've never had one. We moved here because we didn't want to be controlled by a king.
Yeah.
Wow.
You
Okay.
know,
A
as much as
dictator is a
much as we love England, I think the king and queen, that's kind of an antiquated thought. They get all the money and everybody pays crazy taxes over there. Should be more balanced. So I've lived through a dictator. I know what it is. And my father was he worked at that point in the command of South America, and that was their job. The US military had to keep an eye on all these coups and dictators and countries that were being overthrown. So when we saw that January 6th, attempted coup on our government, like you
Wow.
can just with guns and hammers and, blades and saws, try and take over the U.S. Capitol.
You're talking about the day of love.
Yeah, the Day of Love, is a bunch of tourists, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've seen that, and we've seen that around the world.
Yeah.
Guatemala, Venezuela. I mean, so many countries that were overthrown, by a thug, and they weren't trying to make the country better. They wanted power and money. That's what they wanted. So I can say firsthand, we don't need a dictator. We don't want a king. We want a balanced government. Everybody should be treated equally and have every chance to succeed and live a good life. We're
Yes.
not all going to be rich and famous, but at least live a good life. Have some food and have an opportunity to be
Some
somebody.
healthy food. Gotta be healthy now.
Help people. I love to give back, and that's another great thing about musicians. I've talked to so many of them that one of the first things they do when they're successful is get behind causes and charities and give back. You see that with professional athletes. They're all involved in
Yes.
the community and what can I do? If my name is going to bring, backing and, support to something, by all means, let me wave the flag. So it's great a thought to see America get back on track and move boldly forward. And like Kamala says, we will not go back.
I'd go
Yes.
back.
Won't go back. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that thought. So tell us about there's two versions of the
Yeah.
song. Tell us.
The original version is really nice. I think you heard the original version, correct?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so we love the original version. It's Mickey's expression, his stand, and it is my honor to sing that. And then we was talking to Wendy Raquel. We were sharing the song with her. She was like, I think we need something for the young people, maybe a hip hop version. So we went back in the studio and created the hip hop version. And then Mickey was like, I don't know, because for him to come on this side. But then after we created it and he seen me stepping into my A&R girlship. And then he really loves it now. So we're excited about both of them. Some people like this one better, some people like the other one better. So we just wanted to meet, everybody involved
Yeah.
with the
And she was
song.
right about one thing. The younger people like the hip hop, and I couldn't believe that. I mean, they were into it.
Yeah, you gotta give it to them any which way they want it,
Yeah.
But what incredible things that you're doing, and we want to encourage everybody go out and support put Kamala in the White House,
Yes.
and of course, and performed with not only the lovely Michelle, but Mickey Stevenson, the Motown legend, the writer, the producer, along with DC, James Wilson III. So I
Mhm.
want to encourage everyone to go out and support. And I got to do a follow-up. If we help put Kamala in the White House, we must do a follow-up chat because while we're
Absolutely.
dancing in the street, I got to
Yeah.
Yes.
hear it from you guys. So
That's great. That's
Yes,
great.
and it's
All right.
on all
that's a
platforms.
promise.
I just
But
want to say the song is on all platforms, iTunes, Apple
fantastic.
Music, TikTok, Facebook,
Yes,
Instagram. It's on all platforms. And it's not about making money for us.
Don't want to die.
We're committed to
yeah,
making a difference.
of
Yeah. You
course,
want to
making a
spread some money.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
We
want to
should
do
all
something.
make a difference every day, in our little world, wherever we live, and our families and our friends.
That's
Well,
right.
thank you so much for joining us, guys, and we look forward to
Yeah.
following up with you and celebrating. How's that?
I
Yes.
love it. That's great. That's great.
Take care.
All
All
right, you
right.
too.
God bless.